the Hindu festivals are constantly come under the cloud of some sort of controversy or the other. And there is a general perception that our festivals are too many, probably a little backward, and have no relevance. So I wanted perhaps if you could indulge our viewers, and I'm sure there are many young viewers who don't understand the significance of festivals like Sankranti. Would you like to talk a little bit about that? Because we've had, for example, the whole ban on Jallikattu a couple of years. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
I'm sure you yes. So would you like to talk a little bit about that, Subhashji? What is the significance of Sankranti and why are these festivals important?
Okay, there are what happens. You look at the motion of the sun across the year. During summer, the sun rises more to the north. In fall or winter, it rises to the south. So this is called the journey of the sun. Where exactly it rises to the east. And when it's going northwards, that's called Uttarayan. And when it's going southwards, that's called Dakshinayan. Now, the Uttarayan begins right now on 21st of December. And then it goes on till 21st of June. And then the Dakshinayan begins in 21st of June, right? But now, because of the precession of the earth, the seasons are shifting, as I mentioned, 1,000 years per nakshatra, or 2,000 years per Rashi, which is the zodiacal sign. And now the Makar Sankranti is being celebrated now on 15th or 14th or 15th of January. And it's not quite the beginning of Uttarayan. The Uttarayan really is on 21st of December. Because in the modern calendar that we use, this is all fixed now. These dates are fixed, and therefore the seasons are going to change. Or the seasons are fixed, 21st of December, right? So what it really means is that Makar Sankranti is one Indian festival which doesn't change its date. So Makar Sankranti was the same as beginning of Uttarayan about 1,500 years ago.
Wow.
So it has shifted. But on the other hand, what one can say, and I think that will be accurate, is that while Uttarayan begins on 21st of December, Makar Sankranti is a celebration which comes 3 weeks later. So that's perfectly fine. So in other words, we don't have to necessarily tie it up with the larger astronomical event. Now, to come back to the questions of the festivals, what has happened very tragically over the last 70, 80 years is that the colonization of minds that the English attempted in India, Macaulay and the other followers, because as we know, colonialism was racism. Why did you want to form colonies? Because you thought that you were superior to the others, right? So it was racism. So they came in and they didn't understand. They didn't quite recognize that until the Middle Ages, until the scientific age occurred, which is only 300-400 years ago, India was the most advanced scientific nation in the world, and it was generally recognized so. But India had fallen on hard times, and there are these ups and downs in every civilization and culture. And so they came in. But in spite of that, around 1800, India's share of the world economy has been estimated to be about 25%. By the time the English left, or there are figures, 1918, when the First World War ended, India's share, and this is undivided India, had fallen to 1.8%, from 25% to 1.8%. So the 19th century was a century of horrors as far as India was concerned. And what happened was, first of all, they shut down the Indian educational system, as Dharampal has shown. These English superintendents came in and they said, contrary to what we believe now, because our textbooks are all wrong, contrary to what we have been told, children from all jatis used to attend these temple schools. It's not that education was confined to one jati or the other.
Correct.
And then they shut it down. India's literacy fell down from an estimated 60-70% to as low as 4 or 5% on the English watch. And then because they shut down India's own crafts and they didn't invest in Indian factories as the Industrial Revolution came along in the 1830s. Before that, that stiff tariffs on Indian products or textiles with which the British could not compete. But after that, once they had their factories going, Indian products could not compete. And this is the reason why, and they did not invest in factories here. So India became extremely poor.
Yeah.
There were these famines in India, which have been called, the late Victorian Holocaust. Millions and millions of people died. And it happened slowly. So Indians did not even know what was happening.
True.
What was happening. And so what they did, this whole racist view of India, which is what has been incorporated, sadly, in our educational system, has separated us from the true meaning of our culture. And as the great Sri Lankan Indologist Ananda Kumaraswamy said once, literally all that you read about Hinduism in Western texts and their writings and of their Indian followers is wrong. So whatever we are told is really not what it is. Superficially, it might appear fine. It's like this whole idea of caste. There is no equivalent to the word caste in any Indian language. We have jati.
Correct.
And when the British census officers formed across the country in the 1880s and 1901 census, they asked people from different jatis, what varna are you? They said, we are jatis. We don't know what varna we are, because every jati was as proud as any other jati. And of course, some had fallen on hard times because of the economic collapse that occurred under the British watch. But the British insisted on pegging them on one varna or the other. They said, you are this varna, which was all false. So the British created this idea of caste because there is no, every jati is equal, every human being is equal. And every human being has the same purush within, which is what the Shastras or all the Vedas tell us, right? Everybody is Shiva, Shivoham, right? Shiva Aham. So what the British did was they literally handcuffed us by these ideas. And since these ideas have been repeated again and again in these textbooks and through the media, and something terrible has also happened in Indian cinema. Before the Second World War, in the period of great antipathy to the Jews, for example, they were this figure of hate in Europe. So the Jew in British or Western cinema was this very pejoratively. So what the Hindi cinema primarily did was to take those tropes and hung them on the baniya or the pandit, the temple priest. And it's been repeated endlessly. And Indians have been taking this nonsense without rising up, and it's high time. Enough is enough. A lot of what is shown in Hindi cinema is absolutely terrible. In the way all these things are pushed. And the same thing is about the festivals that we started out with in this particular moment, that a lot of that's being pushed by the entertainment industry, by the media, by the Western or the English media in India, is because it's a continuation of the racism which was at the basis of the British Raj. So it's the same attitudes that are being reinforced and repeated again and again, which create a lot of self-hate. So self-loathing. In fact, I wrote an essay on it, called Self-Loathing and the Anglosphere. But you know what's very interesting is self-loathing diminishes the person who does the loathing. You know, the Western, the guy who pretends he's the Englishman sitting in India.
Correct.
And the great South African freedom fighter Nelson Mandela said once, hatred is the poison you drink to kill your enemy, which is what this hate that the successors, the elite who believe that they're successors to the British who rule India, and they must then civilize the rest of the Indians.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is where a lot of the hate is coming from, but it's only ending up diminishing them. But because look at Indians who have left India and gone all over the world, they're the most successful people. You know, the most successful community in the US, for example, are the Indians. They're successful in everything, you know, as professionals, in politics, as lawyers, as writers. So in India also, you know, the average guy is very proud of who he is, who he or she is, as they should be, because ours is, you know, extraordinary wisdom tradition. And this is what gives us the strength. Not that Indians are any superior to anybody else. All human beings are equal. But it's this wisdom that informs us and strengthens us.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.